Join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you and welcome. We'd like to recognize in the back of the room Senator Schuler, distinguished former member of this council. Thank you for being here. Welcome. Glad to have you. It's good to see you. We need to start that with a roll call. Ms. Harris, will you help us with that?
Sure. Everyone is present, so we do have a quorum.
Thank you. We have an agenda before us. Any comments or concerns about that agenda? Anything to add or subtract or whatever? If there's not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
Mr. Welling, the motion. Is there a second?
Second, Your Honor.
Mr. Smith, seconding. Any discussion? There's none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? We have an agenda. We have the council minutes for January 20th and the work session minutes for January 27th. Any comments or concerns regarding those minutes? If not, we will acknowledge those as they've been written, and we will move on to the bills. We've got a warrant register for today. Questions, comments? If there's none, is there a motion to approve the bills?
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
Perks, motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Sellers seconding. Any discussion? There's no discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That takes care of the bills. The revenue and expenditure report for November. Same thing there. Questions, comments?
I just have one question, Your Honor.
Go ahead, sir.
I guess Trudy's here.
She is.
Oh, there she is. Sorry. Can't see beyond here, but I was just looking at the expenditures, and I guess we're on track. When I looked at the expenditures side of it, I got a little nervous when I saw the line across on the expenditures over the income. But I guess it's when you look at the budget side of it, then it's within the budget range, correct? If I'm reading it right.
Yeah, we're at 30, let's see, we're at the 34% year in most areas. And the general fund only takes 30% of that, so.
Yeah. I think I finally figured it out, but I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
They always seem to kind of play leapfrog all the way throughout the year. So excellent. Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve that report.
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
Mr. Welling. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Sellers seconding. Thank you. Any discussion? There's no discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That is approved there as well. Council comments. Let's start down here. Ms. Hegeman, start with you tonight. What's on your mind tonight?
That's twice in a row.
Oh, there you have it.
I wanted to address the friction that is growing in our community on a political basis. It's trickling down, I think, from national politics, and it's getting ugly between our citizens. And although I don't participate online, I watch it, and I see that discourse and how I'm searching for the right word. It becomes a tax, and these are your neighbors. I want to stress that. These are the people that live in this town and not the enemy. And so I just wanted to read this because I find it very comforting and very important to realign the conversation. This is the Constitution of the State of Wyoming, Article 1, Declaration of Rights. Section 1, power inherent in the people. All power is inherent in the people, and all free governments are founded on their authority and are instituted for their peace, safety, and happiness. And for the advancements of these ends, they have at all times an inalienable and indefeasible right to alter, reform, or abolish the government in such manner as they think proper. And I go to that because I cannot stress enough that the participation of the community in our government is critical and essential, and that no one in elected office, not us, not the state, and not the president, has more power than the Constitution gives to the people. Discourse is essential. Political activity is what this nation was founded on. So please, instead of warring online, get involved. Come, let us know. Let everyone know. This is part of the game about being an American, and if your only political scars are on the end of your fingertips, think about coming and participating, and you'll feel a lot better about it. It is the utmost in patriotic duties. And I will also emphasize this because I forgot it a second ago. Nowhere in Section 1 of the Declarations of Rights in our Constitution does it say that your authority and that your power is only on voting day. There are no words that address that. It is every day that you possess that. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Stillers.
There's a reason I basically stay off of social media. Drives me nuts. So I just, on that kind of same note, but, you know, we've seen some pretty horrific things in our communities, in our area the last little while. And not just the people that are involved, but the people who take care of the accidents, of the suicides, of the murders. It's those providers, those first responders go through a lot. So make sure we're reaching out and being mindful of those around us. I worry about why we're seeing an uptick and things happening. And I just rented an apartment to a lady today who's in turmoil because her husband had committed suicide over the holidays. And it's just really hard. And what's going on, maybe it's some of what Ms. Hagman said, that there's, you know, we get so wrapped up in stuff, and instead of just paying attention to and working on our needs and being mindful of our neighbors, I just ask, I know I preach that a lot, but I think it's a really good thing. And on a more positive note, something I was thinking about, I was sitting there getting ready to come, and I'm thinking, oh, it's 5:15, and it's getting so light that almost threw things off. So, you know, our shops and our stores and our restaurants are open, and water's going to be a problem. I see that, but why we have what we have, enjoy it. Get out and get downtown, enjoy those evenings.
Well,
I don't have anything tonight, Your Honor. Sorry.
Mr. Perks.
Not a thing.
Glenn.
I just want to echo what Mike was saying. With the good weather, get out there and support your local businesses. Get downtown, go check out the restaurants. We have a few new businesses, and the only way those businesses stay open and are successful is if they get support from the community. So get out there and support those businesses and enjoy this weather while we have it, and we'll worry about water here in a couple months.
Mr. Schmidt.
The only thing I have is, I echo what Mike has said about suicide in our communities and so on, and the heartbreak that it is with our citizens. And also, on the light side, Valentine's Day is coming up, so don't forget your other half. That wouldn't be a good idea. Just want to remind you.
That's when murder happens, not suicide.
That's when you go asleep and don't wake back up. But in my house, anyhow. So, anyhow, that's it, Your Honor.
Yeah,
Thank you.
excellent. Thank you. I guess I'll echo the concerns. I've been enjoying this winter too. I think you think, but I say that kind of tongue in cheek. We are in need of water, and so it doesn't hurt us to conserve. I guess as I'm sitting here thinking, I would just encourage the community to, if you've got some beliefs and want to include a prayer or two or something like that in there for that moisture, I don't think that would hurt at all as well. I know that's something that me and my family will be doing, and I say jokingly once in a while that I enjoy a good drought during the winter, but that makes for an awful dry, thirsty summer, and we will suffer the effects of that. So let's all pray for rain, I guess, is where I'm going with that. And that's all. What's that?
Rain's good. You don't have to shovel it.
Yeah, it soaks in and it doesn't stack up quite so high. As warm as it's been, I guess that's what I'm thinking. But anyway, we will move on. Thank you for those comments. We do have some appointments to make. I will say there's one change in there that when we go on to the Human Service Joint Powers Board, this mentions Evan Perks here. Mr. Perks served distinguishingly on that board for quite a while. His work situation pulled him away some time back. I don't remember the time frame, but in his stead, we appointed David Welling to fill that. So this should read here that David Welling would be reappointed for a term to end February 2029. And Mr. Perks and Mr. Welling and I have talked about that. So I will just mention these names as a group, and if there's some reason that we need to pull them out and talk about them individually, we can. But for the purposes of tonight, I would like you to consider reappointing David Welling to a 4-year term on the Emergency Services Joint Powers Board. That term would end December 2029. Herman Roybal would replace Mr. Robinson on the Evanston Housing Authority. Mr. Robinson, I think there's a term limit on there, I think, and so he's fulfilled that. Thank you for that, sir. And so in his place, I'd like to appoint Herman on that board. Again, Ed David Welling for a 3-year term on the Human Service Joint Powers Board. That term would end February 2029. And then Susan Anderson and Peter Howard, both to be reappointed to the Tree Board. Those are 3-year terms to end January 2029 as well. And then Austin Oliver for a 3-year term on the Planning and Zoning Commission and the Board of Adjustments. That term would end January 2029 also. So if someone would like to make a motion to that effect.
I'll make a motion that we approve your appointments for the boards.
Thank you, Mr. Perks. Is there a second?
I'll second it, Your Honor.
Mr. Schmidt seconding. Any discussion?
I'd like to thank those that are willing to serve. It takes a lot to serve.
Any further discussion? If there is none, all in favor say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Those are all reappointed, and I appreciate all of those individuals in their service. Thank you very much. We have no consent agenda. We have no unfinished business. And we'll go to new business and start there with Resolution 2604. Mr. Harris, you read that title for us, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Resolution 2604 is a resolution of the City of Evanston, Wyoming, authorizing execution of an agreement for professional services with Sunrise Engineering LLC to provide design, engineering, construction, management services for the City of Evanston E Hill Water Tank Number 2 Roof Replacement Project.
Mr. Newsom, thank you, Mr. Harris. Mr. Newsom.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The moral of this story is we have a water tank that needs a new roof. It's been, I think, been on the docket for a while, dating back to 2017, 2018, 7 years ago. Now it just needs to be done. So back in December, we put out a RFP for any interested consulting firms. 2 came back, and the selection that fit the project the best was Sunrise. So.
Thank you, sir. I guess for the purposes of discussion, is there an introduction on this resolution?
I'll introduce with a motion to pass.
Mr. Lind,
I'll second it.
Mr. Welling seconding. Thank you. Discussion.
This isn't just a roof. There's some other structural going
Yeah,
into
it's
this,
the roof
right?
itself, and then the supports that are in the tank. Being underwater all the time, they've come to an end. So
How old is this tank?
I was going to ask.
70 years.
A few years ago, they brought us pictures and showed us the pillars inside and the roof, and I'm surprised it's been this long
Yeah.
before it finally came forward.
Yeah, from all the tank dives, the tank itself still in good usable condition. It's just the roof itself. This project is in the budget, water enterprise funds. This is the first step to get it started.
70 years is a pretty good run
Yeah, it is.
For a roof?
I was going to ask
for anything, really.
how many in the room remember when it was built, but I
me.
won't do that. I won't do that. We won't point that out. Is there any further discussion? I think
Do you know how long the project will take?
Optimistically, my thought is we get the design started. Hopefully by the fall, it's actually able to go out to a bid, and then they can do that work over the winter when the demand of water is a little less. Tanks aren't being, used as much, and then hopefully this winter is what it takes.
Let's hope we have water to fill it back up.
Might not be a problem. Yeah. Further discussion.
Is this a Wyoming company?
Yeah, they are. They're based out of Afton predominantly, but they do have a office in Kemmer and then Cheyenne and other states.
We used to have an office here.
They did for
Always a
short-
bonus.
If there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Are there any opposed? That is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ordinance 2601. Mr. Harris, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance 2601 is an ordinance of the City of Evanston, Wyoming, relating to zoning, amending and adopting provisions of Chapter 24 of the Code of the City of Evanston, Wyoming, relating to accessory dwelling units. This ordinance, Mr. Mayor, is sponsored by Councilor Welling.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Jacobson.
Yes, Mayor and Council, presently, the City of Evanston zoning code does not permit accessory dwelling units in any part of the city. This proposed ordinance would allow accessory dwelling units in certain zoned areas, either conditionally permitted or permitted. The Evanston Comprehensive Plan addresses accessory dwelling units within low-density residential districts in the city. The plan states that there is interest in allowing an accessory dwelling unit on a lot that contains a primary residence. Accessory dwelling units may be used for guest housing or as living space for family members, typically seniors. Additionally, accessory dwelling units may be used for rental income. The plan recommends that this action be permitted if minimum lot area requirements per dwelling unit are maintained. So proposed changes to the schedule of permitted land uses would include adding land use category 8.1, accessory dwelling units, conditionally permitting accessory dwelling units in low-density residential zones, permitting accessory dwelling units in rural residential zones. There are some conditions or provisions that apply, and you'll see with the P8, you'll see section 2426.1. That is a new section added to the, proposed to be added to the code, as well as C8, C section 24-26.1. I'm going to, bear with me, I'm going to go through each one of these conditions for 2426.1 in detail for the public record. So in districts where accessory dwelling units are allowed as permitted or conditional uses, they shall meet the following standards in addition to all other lot and building standards for the district. Number one is number of accessory dwelling units. Only one accessory dwelling unit is permitted on a lot with a detached single-family dwelling, and in zoning districts where accessory dwelling units are allowed as a permitted use or as a conditional use review. Accessory dwelling units are prohibited on lots with single-family attached dwellings or multifamily dwellings. Number two, minimum lot size and open space. An accessory dwelling unit shall only be approved on a lot that either complies with the minimum lot area requirement for the zoning district or where the minimum usable open space area per dwelling unit can be maintained with the addition of the accessory dwelling unit. The addition of the accessory dwelling unit shall not double the minimum usable open space requirement for a lot or a parcel. Number three, no subdividing or segregation in ownership. An ADU shall be prohibited from being subdivided or segregated in ownership from the principal dwelling unit or from being reclassified from an accessory use to a principal use of a lot or a parcel of land. Number four, size limitations, three parts to this. Number A, in no event shall a detached ADU, accessory dwelling unit, and I'll abbreviate accessory dwelling units as ADU as I proceed forward, exceed 50% of the footprint area of the principal dwelling unit or up to a maximum of 1,200 square feet, whichever is less. Square footage calculations as contained herein exclude any garage, porch, deck, or similar structure attached to the principal building. An ADU shall not be less than 190 square feet in area. Item number B, the footprint area of all accessory buildings, including a detached ADU, shall not exceed 75% of the square foot size of the principal building's footprint. Item number C, the unit size limitation shall not apply to an ADU located in a basement. An ADU may occupy the entire floor area of a basement. Number 5, maximum bedrooms and sleep areas. ADU shall be limited to no more than 2 bedrooms or sleep areas. Number 6, building appearance. An ADU, whether attached to or detached from the principal dwelling unit, shall be designed to match or complement the architectural style and features, such as siding, roofing, and window materials of the principal building. The ADU shall offer a residential appearance that is compatible with other surrounding dwellings in the neighborhood in which it is located. Number 7, minimum setbacks. Detached accessory dwelling units shall comply with accessory use setbacks and accessory building height limitations Attached ADUs shall comply with principal use setbacks for the district in which it is located. Number 8, off-street parking. In addition to the minimum number of off-street parking spaces required for the zoning district, one additional off-street parking space shall be provided for the ADU. The parking area shall be paved with asphalt, concrete, or similar dust-free permanent surface. An uncovered parking space for the accessory dwelling unit may be in a required yard setback abutting a street. The parking space for the ADU shall comply with minimum stall requirements of Section 2458 of the City Code. Number 9, types of construction exclusions and exceptions. An ADU shall not include manufactured homes, mobile homes, independent or dependent travel units, temporary or seasonal structures such as units on skids, yurts, and tents, or similar uses with the following exceptions. A, listed under number 9, reads, a manufactured home may be used as an ADU only in low-density residential mixed or rural residential zoning districts and only if the principal building on the lot is a manufactured home. In addition to these standards, a manufactured home, which is permitted as an accessory dwelling unit, shall comply with the standards of Section 7-52.1 of the City Code that's located in the building section of the City Code. Item number 10, water and sewer services. A primary dwelling unit and an ADU may share common water and sewer services, provided there are separate accessible water service shutoff valves allowing the water to be turned off on one side without affecting the other. There shall be no more than one billing per meter. Number 11, address. An ADU shall have a separate house number from the primary dwelling unit. Number 12, permanent foundation. An ADU shall be placed on a permanent foundation. In zoning districts where a manufactured home is permitted and the principal building on the lot or parcel of land is a manufactured home, a manufactured ADU shall comply with the foundation and permanent perimeter skirt wall requirements of Section 7-52.1 of the City Code. Item number 13, occupancy limitation. An ADU shall be occupied by no more than one family. Family is defined as a person or persons related by blood, marriage, or adoption living together in a dwelling unit. Item number 14, one-year residency. A property owner proposing to construct an ADU shall live continuously in the principal dwelling unit as their primary residence for a period of 1 year prior to submitting a conditional use permit application if required, and a building permit application for an ADU. Item number 15, owner occupied. The owner of the property containing an ADU shall live in either the primary dwelling unit or the ADU as their primary residence. The ADU shall not be occupied unless this is the case. Number 16, filing notice of ADU regulations. After approval by the City Engineering and Planning Department of an accessory dwelling unit pursuant to subsection 14 of this section, the property owner will record with the Una County Recorder's Office a notice of ADU regulations that shall contain a legal description of subject property. The notice of ADU regulations shall be in a form approved by the City Engineering and Planning Department prior to filing. Item number 17, provisions of Appendix BC accessory dwelling units of the International Residential Code. The provisions contained within Appendix BC accessory dwelling units of the International Residential Code shall apply to accessory dwelling units in the City of Evanston unless specified otherwise in the standards of this section. With the proposed changes, we have a definition for accessory dwelling units, and it reads, a separate dwelling unit that is associated with, incidental to, related to, and is clearly subordinate to another dwelling unit as the principal use in size, use, and appearance, and is located on the same lot as the principal dwelling. An accessory dwelling unit may be located within, attached to, or detached from the principal dwelling and shall provide basic requirements for living, sleeping, eating, cooking, and sanitation. Now, the Planning Commission met in June, July, and August, and November of 2025 to discuss the proposed text amendment to permit accessory dwelling units in low-density residential and rural residential zoning districts in the city of Evanston. The Planning Commission did not have a quorum at the October meeting and did not discuss the text amendment at that meeting. The contents that I have presented within this proposal of this report reflect the recommendations of the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission voted unanimously to offer a positive recommendation of approval. The City Council has discussed the proposed text amendment at the December 9th, 2025 and January 27th, 2026 City Council work session meetings. No decisions are made at those work session meetings. So what's been presented to you currently is what the Planning Commission has recommended to the City Council. Based upon those discussions at these meetings, the following alternate standards to Section 24-26.1 are offered for discussion and consideration. For item number 4, there is a part to consider which would add to the end of item A, 4A. Everything would read the same as 4A currently stands, but it would include at the end of that, in addition to the standards of Section 24-26.1, a detached accessory dwelling unit, which is 400 square feet or less and at least 190 square feet, shall comply with the provisions of Appendix BB, Tiny Houses of the International Residential Code. And I have provided a copy of that appendix. That provides some standards for basically tiny homes. So anything that's 400 square feet or less, and at least 190 square feet in that range, we'd recommend that that be included. Item number 14, one-year residency. Proposed changes to that would be adding physically within the first sentence. I'll read that first sentence. A property owner proposing to construct an accessory dwelling unit shall physically live continuously in the principal dwelling unit as their primary residence for a period of 1 year prior to submitting a conditional use permit application, if required, and a building permit application for an accessory dwelling unit. And here's, in addition, maybe a proposed change to that would include with the following exceptions. And this, I believe, addresses, let's see. I'll just read it out. So there's an addition to item number 14, which would include A, if a lot is undeveloped or vacant with no existing structures and a building permit for a new single-family detached dwelling unit is requested, an accessory dwelling unit can be incorporated into the initial request without having to satisfy the 1-year waiting period. I believe this addresses
That addresses my concern.
Lynn's comments when you're looking at constructing a new home on an undeveloped lot. It's cheaper to, construction-wise, to construct at that time as the primary dwelling unit is being constructed. It also limits construction periods, so you don't have two separate construction periods that your neighbors have to kind of suffer through. So that's a proposed change. And then item number 15, owner occupied. The owner of the property containing an accessory dwelling unit shall, again, physically, that would be added to, live in either the primary dwelling unit or the accessory dwelling unit as their primary residence, then add for more than 50% of a calendar year. The accessory dwelling unit shall not be occupied unless this is the case. When we discussed this at council work session, a 90% figure was tossed out there. I have presented possibly a 50% for consideration. Anything more than that, I think you would be looking at that as your primary residence. So
I think
that's
for the tax
a council
purposes, you only have
discussion.
to live in your house for 8 months to get the tax credit. So I'm wondering if we ought to align with that a little more. I don't know.
Are you proposing that 15 would replace the way it reads right now with this one?
Yeah, the way I've read 15 is what I'm proposing to replace 15 as I read
As it read
in the ordinance, yes.
So does that answer the question of what he brought up about the, if they use the residence for, if they don't occupy it over 50% of the time, if we say they occupy it for 60% of the time, does that still open that property up to be leased or to be used by other members or non-members of the family?
You would have to have a property owner living in either the accessory dwelling unit or the principal building on the property for at least, as I recommend in the change on 15, it'd be for at least 50% of the time.
So if I had
Then the ADU could be
if
used.
I had an ADU on my property and I lived in that for 50% of the time, what are my options on the other 50% of the time? Can it
It'd be more than 50% of the time, but yeah, so long as you would be living there more than 50% of the time, the ADU could be used.
And is it structured like a
Or the
calendar year?
principal.
Is it 50% of the year? Is it 50% of the? I'm assuming it's of the calendar year, 50% of the, 6 months out of the year. It's just a little vague in the.
Yeah, I mean, we could include a 365-day calendar year, at least more than 50% of that.
So the way the original one reads is the owner of the property containing accessory dwelling unit shall live in their primary dwelling unit or accessory dwelling unit as their primary residence. The accessory dwelling unit shall not be occupied unless this is the case. That's what's in here, and you want to replace it with the 50%, right? Is that
That's a recommendation, yes.
like that's the recommendation is to replace that? Okay, so if we replace it with that as it reading 50%, then you could still theoretically use that accessory dwelling unit without being there if we were to adopt the one that you're recommending.
Correct. As long as you were there
As long as you're there at least half the year.
That's the way I'm reading it.
Yeah, more.
I just want to make sure I'm reading it right.
Good.
As long as you're more there longer than 50% of the year,
Yeah.
the 365-day, if you want to include that.
So essentially what we're doing is we're eliminating the idea that you have to be there
All the time.
to use the ADU or utilize the ADU. We're just saying you got to be there more than 50% of the time.
Yeah.
And that meets the
You'd have
requirement.
to, yeah,
right?
physically live there for at least more than 50% of the time. And then,
Okay.
yes,
Are we going to see
you
those
could
changes on the
rent that
next
out or have
reading?
family members use it.
We're going to see those on the next reading, those changes.
Mr. Harris, maybe you can
If
help us with
Yeah,
that.
so Mayor, as Mr. Jacobson said, the ordinance came to you the way that the Planning Commission recommended it.
Right.
So I would suggest and recommend that it be introduced and considered as it was drafted. And then if there are amendments along the lines that he had just gone over with everyone, and if you look at his report, you'll see that there's amendments potentially to section 4, 14, and 15. And so if the council introduced it, motion to pass and seconded the way it's introduced, then it could consider amendments to any or all of the ones that he just mentioned. I think amending.
Second reading.
Would be the next way to go. So we need to, in essence, approve it on first reading and then make an amendment that we would approve on a second reading with these
Do it on
changes.
second reading, third reading, whenever you want.
Whatever, whenever.
You could do it tonight if you want.
That's what I'm saying. Wouldn't we want to make a motion with that, in that motion saying we approve these amendments from the planning and zoning so that on next reading it reads with these?
No, we can, I would recommend that you introduce it, move to pass, second it, and then you move to amend it. You can do that tonight with any of these you want. Those, if approved, those changes would appear on
Okay,
second.
so same thing. It's just two different motions we got to make.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Is everybody ready to move on? Or are there questions that we need to talk about before we move to that point?
I have one quick question. When you say 190 to 400 square feet, is that the footprint if you wanted to, or is that the total living space? Because if
That's
you
the
have-
footprint area.
if you have a footprint and then you put a second story on, you could be 800 square feet.
That's the minimum.
Yes, I believe it's the footprint area.
That's the minimum up to 1,200.
Maximum is 1,200, I think.
1,200, yeah.
Yeah. So anywhere in there, you'd be fine.
So in that section, yes, in no event shall a detached accessory dwelling unit exceed 50% of the footprint area of the principal dwelling unit, or up to a maximum of 1,200 square feet, whichever is less.
But then that you said,
But
then you turned around and said something about 190 square feet to 400 square feet. So
Minimum.
That is the range. So an ADU shall not be less than 190 square feet. 100 square feet comes into play is within the tiny homes, that section of the International Residential Code Appendix. They set for tiny homes, a limit of 400 square feet.
So if we're talking about that square footage, then those requirements, building code requirements for the tiny homes would apply.
Yeah, so if the footprint area of the ADU falls between 190 square feet
and up to
400 square feet, up to 400 square feet, then those additional standards in the International Residential Code would apply.
Those would apply, but you could
For tiny
build
homes.
it anywhere between 190 and 1,200 square feet, anywhere in there.
that made sense. You were given the different numbers than I thought. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Zegman, do you have a question for Mr. Jacobson?
Yeah, I want to go back to 13, occupancy limitations. An ADU shall be occupied by no more than one family. Family is defined as a person or persons related by blood, marriage, or adoption living together in a dwelling.
Yes.
My only concern to that is, it's actually a big one. We have a older community, and this limits that a very valuable asset for having an ADU, which is to have a caretaker in senior years. More seniors are living longer in their house because they want to stay in their house, and it is incredibly expensive care homes. And to be lucky enough to have one of these features and be able to have somebody, even in the hospice stage, be able to occupy this house would be such a incredible benefit to our community, to allow caretakers and hospice workers that actually do become family towards the end, to be included instead of omitted in this, and to rather have it there in plain language that that's okay. Because during a time like that, you really don't want to have a planning and zoning issue, you know? So that's something I would like to consider.
Are you thinking of adding a hospice worker that would care for a
Caretaker
senior?
or hospice.
Caretaker?
Yeah, caretaker or hospice. The benefit of that, when seniors are living longer in their homes, would prevent injuries and be able to alleviate family members and have.
Problem is, just as you go forward, if you look at the definition section, which the whole thing is included, 24-105, you'll see in there that family is defined. So that's the definition already in code. And all that I think Mr. Jacobson did, not all, to minimize it, but he just dropped that family definition over into the occupancy limitation, because family definition in 13 is the same as in the code. So if you make a change to the definition of family in the code, remember that you could have unintended consequences of other code provisions relating to family. So that's one thing to think about. The other thing that could be done is to clarify and make sure that the dwelling unit, if there is a caretaker, I'll just leave it a caretaker. The question would be is whether that caretaker is occupying the dwelling unit. If they're there even overnight, he may not be considered an occupant like a person who resides there. Does that make sense? So if you wanted to make certain that they weren't going to be considered as occupants and provide for caretakers to do that, you could do it that way too, without changing the definition of family. Hope it makes sense.
And I guess the way I'm reading this, number 13 here, is I don't know that anything in there would prohibit the addressing the concerns Ms. Hegeman is talking about, truly, because this talks about the ADU being occupied by no more than one family. So that's I don't think anything would be prohibited that I'm reading, at least as far as that definition is concerned. So anyway.
Well, I mean, under 13, it says they either got to be related by blood, marriage, or adoption, living together in a dwelling unit. I mean, you wouldn't have to change the entire code to just add into 13 caretaker, would you?
That's what I'm saying. And make it, it's actually an exclusion that the property may be occupied by caretakers or who are non-family members.
Yeah, so you could just add that
like
in
an
there without.
exception to that.
Yes.
Maintaining the same definition.
Yes, that's
family.
what I was getting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think, Mayor, if I can, it would be better to clarify caretakers or hospice workers, whatever we come up with, are not considered to be family members, but can reside there because they're not going to be a permanent occupant. That's the way I distinguish it, than to change the definition of family.
Yeah,
That's what
I agree. I agree.
I don't think it's a bad idea, though. I know several situations where people have caretakers that are not family.
Right.
So to add that language in there would probably not be a bad idea.
And I think we could work something up and bring it to you for second reading.
Yes, we can do that.
Yeah. Well, for our purpose here tonight, I guess we've got a sponsor. I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance 2601 as we have it here before us on first reading.
I'll make that motion that we pass 2601 on first reading.
Mr. Perk, Mr. Sellers, seconding. Any discussion?
Do you want to make your motion?
I think we ought to get it on the table and then make a motion to amend.
Yeah, and so we got to approve this and then make a motion to add the amendments.
You
Correct.
make motion to amend it right now.
Okay, I'll make the motion to add the amendments from the recommendations of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
I'll second that, Your Honor.
We have a motion and a second to add the recommendations of Mr. Jacobson. I guess I want to address that correctly. Do we know exactly how do I want to do that? The recommendation, your motion is to follow the recommendations that Mr. Jacobson has outlined?
Yeah, with 4A, 4B, 4C, 14A, and replacing 15.
Okay, excellent. Mr. Schmidt, is that second, you're still valid? Okay. Any discussion on that amendment?
Are we going to put in a motion? Do we do it after this one for the amending 13?
I think Mr. Mayor, can. What we had recommended is we draft some language so everybody can see it, have time to take a look at it, and bring that back for a potential amendment second reading.
For a second.
Second reading. Gotcha.
So, any further discussion on the amendment? I think those are good amendments. If there's no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is there any opposed? Okay, that is approved. So now we go back to ordinance 2601. Is there any further discussion there?
I would like to say thank you for the open discussion we've had about this. It's been nice to be able to communicate, talk to everybody, have a lot of back and forth. I think that's the way we should go about a lot of this stuff. And I appreciate your guys' work on it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I really appreciate the Planning Commission and everyone
They work hard for us.
Yep.
If there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That is approved on first reading, and then we'll get the new language, and we'll talk about that on second reading.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Departments. Mr. Newsom, you have anything for us tonight, sir?
I do not, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Robinson.
I appreciate your comments and concerns about the weather and the snow and the water. Just as a matter of information, we have the ability to fill our reservoir from the pipe or from the river with the pipeline. We've raised our reservoir level 7 feet since the 1st of October. And if the river sustains itself like it is, we should have a full pool in the reservoir.
Nice.
Mid-April. So our storage will be good, but I'm still concerned about the rest of it.
Absolutely.
But on a positive note, we've made it to February and not had one single snow complaint about a snowplow.
Streets are clean. Absolutely. Excellent. Ms. Larson, do you have anything for us? Thank you, Mr. O'Neill. Lim. Chief Ranish.
Sir.
Ms. Harris.
Nothing tonight.
Mr. Harris.
Nothing tonight, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you all. Public participation. Is anyone here who would like to address the council for any reason?
I have a couple of things. Kathy Cook, 912 Main. Once again, the people watching this on YouTube or wherever can't hear the people in back, such as Trudy's comments today. I'm sure they couldn't hear that. So maybe they can come up here and talk since there's not a microphone back there.
You mean just now, these comments right now?
Well, earlier, Henry had asked Trudy something, and the people, I'm sure, couldn't hear that.
Okay.
Another thing is, does the city have an ordinance pertaining to landowners to keep their property in good standing?
I guess there's a variety of, Mr. Harris, maybe help me, I think there's a variety of ordinances to that effect. I don't
Mr.
exactly know,
Mayor,
go ahead.
Ms. Cook, we have a complete chapter of our code relating to nuisances, portions of, I think, chapter 7 dealing with the building code deals with dangerous and abandoned buildings. But yes, we do.
Okay, so what's being done with the Hillcrest Motel that caught on fire last summer?
Mr. Mayor, I'd be glad, I will send you that information tomorrow. Okay?
Okay. I would like, maybe the people out there could hear it too, so.
They can request the same information. I mean, if you drive by it, it's being demolished.
It doesn't look like anybody's done anything for a long time. Also.
Actually, it looks to me like there've been a lot of recent work on it.
I drive back and forth all the time. I've never seen anybody work back there.
Me too. We all do.
As I've heard people say it's an eyesore when they come to visit at Evanston. They come through and that's the first thing they see. Also, Bear River Drive is an eyesore as well, and things just seem to stay the same.
Okay, all of those properties are individually owned. I don't know.
Right.
So
You just said you had an ordinance, so I was wondering what was being done about it.
I don't even know how to answer that question. What's being done?
Mayor, we always encourage people, if they have a complaint, particularly nuisance complaints, you can contact the Evanston Police Department, and make a report.
Okay. Also, since we're getting the Horse Palace here and we're kind of we might become the little Vegas, I don't know. Especially in the summer, more people come through town. I've noticed that downtown is sometimes also, it's almost impossible to get a parking spot if you're running in to get something. So I've noticed that business workers, so businesses, their workers park over 8 hours in the same spot. So I think that's a problem. Even like the county building, the workers take the prime parking spots for people coming into the businesses. I've worked in cities where I've had to, of course, drive like 40 minutes to get to work. Then I park in a parking spot, and then I have to walk 20 minutes to get into work. Or I can take a bus, a shuttle. I've also I've worked in like Seattle where there's no parking in town. So I have to take a bus and then walk 8 blocks up to my work of business at 5:30 in the morning, so that people of the business, the people visiting the businesses have a place to park when they come into town, especially like by City Drug. They have people come and go all the time. They only have one handicap parking place, and I've seen some pretty bad people walking into City Drug where, they could have used a parking spot.
Be glad you don't live in Seattle anymore, I guess is what I would say. I mean, all of those, I mean, our police department enforces parking ordinances. Many of the parking conditions that you recognize, or that you mentioned, truly speaking, are individual property owners concerned. We have ordinances that are enforced. Those parking, I mean, it's been an issue for many, many years that parking is always at a premium downtown. My wife and I were down there just today, and we had to look around for a parking spot as we went into City Drug. And so I hear your concerns, but it's an ongoing, it has been an issue for quite a while. So what to do about it unless we can, make more somewhere. I don't know, where that would be.
Well, it'd be kind of nice maybe if you had a plan. Maybe you could have a special place for business owners to park, their workers to park with lighting, that they would be safe going back to their, car.
Again, you're talking about individual property rights and individual property owners. rights and efforts, it would be very difficult for the city to accomplish something like that, but I hear you.
We have the parking behind Mother Mays. It's hardly ever full. We have DeRue's.
Right.
We have a 2-hour parking. I guess we could start enforcing that.
Yeah, it's not enforced.
How many hours do you park in front of your place?
Well, I come and go all day long, but yeah.
I mean, would a 2-hour parking work for you?
Yeah.
24/7?
Well, you don't need it in the evening when
Sometimes when there's some event going on.
Correct, and I can move my car. I wouldn't mind parking behind Mother Mays. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying it goes both ways. We can't.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So
I think it's a community collective on the main street. There's so many great ideas that I've always heard through the years. You know, we have plenty of parking. We don't have plenty of walkers. So that's the issue. But, you know, during the summer months, during the winter months where it's cold and nasty, I don't think that there's too many businesses down there that aren't, you know, they want the traffic. And so it makes absolute sense, but maybe that's something where, you know, Main Street comes together to support each other and get the consumers, because if they're driving by and there's no parking, they're like adios, and that's part of our problem, especially in a downturn community. But we have all the parking across the street, Front Street. It's only a little bit, you know. I have an issue with the crosswalk, but
if that would be good in the mornings or whenever, if it would be light enough for people working like in restaurants.
I'm talking about in the summer. I mean, I think to do even a trial, you know, nothing's set in stone, but to come up with a plan with the community to say, hi, why don't we try this in the summer? So it's not brutally cold and it's not covered in snow, except for our occasional June snow showers. But, you know, the people downtown want to support the other businesses, because if you bring in somebody, they're going to travel, walk down, and especially when they're walking, you know, around. So I think it's a great idea. I think maybe if the city can't seem to get it done, maybe a community initiative, and then come to the city with that initiative. And we can do more with that, because, you know, the rights of the property owners are ironclad in Wyoming constitutional law. It's like a bear trap of
doesn't come with
language. Yes, but also on that, which is what I'm addressing with the property owner rights, but so do businesses. Businesses need to survive, and that is a downtown district based on businesses, like you're saying, and it needs to go. Those rights are protected as well. So I see great things that can happen, and I'll get involved. I'll help move it forward on Main Street. It's my area, and get that together and see if we can't get a consensus with the business owners to try this starting for the summer months where the employees park across
someplace.
Yeah, we have parking down there. It's not, we have a sign that's this big, but it's there and it's empty all the time.
It's always empty. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Senator.
Ladies first.
Hello again, Mr. Mayor and Council. Thank you for giving me a couple minutes. I'll try to be really quick. Just wanted to popped into county today to see if they had any issues with any of the bills that are coming down the pike. I take off this weekend for the budget session, and I wanted to do the same with you. Hope that you're kind of looking at some of those bills. I don't think there's an awful lot that will really affect the city as of right now, but there's only about 200 bills that are numbered right now. There's about another 200 that are on their way. So just kind of take a look at that. I know some of you are headed to WHAM next week, so I'll probably see a few of you, I hope, down there. We can talk a little bit more in depth, but I know direct distribution is probably the thing most of you are concerned about, as myself as well. I have a couple of ideas on what I think we can do there to codify it and take into account inflation and that sort of thing, and make sure that we don't have this song and dance every year with what we're going to do with direct distribution. So have a couple of ideas that I'd like to float by you if I can next week. I won't do it today, but there's also a bill I think that might be kind of important on gaming or simulcast. And I think it's been a long time coming. A lot of the historic horse racing machines, those have been improved in the past by the county, even though a lot of those machines are in the city limits. So we have a bill coming forward that basically says if it's in the city, you folks get to make that decision. It's in the county commissioners get to make that decision. So I think that's a good move. There's also a bill in the House that is talking about recalling municipal elected officials. I don't pay too close attention to the House bills because until they come over to the Senate side, last year there was 100 of them that never even got out of the drawer. But anyway, you might want to look at that one. I just thought it was kind of silly. But anyway, that's me. There was another one on zoning, a couple of them on zoning. So a couple of you might be interested in some of those zoning issues. So anyway, just follow along, wyoledge.gov, excuse me. And if you have any issues, even between now and when you come down for WHAM, give me a holler or send me a text. I actually do better with texts and phone calls because we get inundated right now in the last couple of months with 50, 60 emails a day. I do try to filter out the ones that are from you in a county first, but give me a holler, give me a text if there's something you have an issue with, and glad to serve and do whatever I can to help out the city of Evanston. So
appreciate that.
Any questions?
What's going on with that $1 an acre selling public land for homestead? Did he fall and hit his head?
I think it's, I don't think that's one that will get very far. Let's just put it that way. I doubt that it'll even get out of the House. So, yeah, I wouldn't get too concerned with that one. I mean, it's a young guy that maybe had a great idea, but hadn't really thought through all the different ramifications of how that could affect people. So
that's very polite way of saying
I'm trying to be politically correct. I'm not always good at
Senator
it.
Schuler, is there any more talk about the distribution of sales tax instead of the 70-30, 50-50 or something to be better?
Yeah. There's some issues coming out of revenue that I have to just shake my head. I've already talked to the revenue chairman in the Senate. I just said, I think you're up in the night on some of these things because our property taxes are already having an effect, the 25% on our counties and our cities and our schools and our colleges. I was at a meeting just last week. Western Wyoming College had Dr. Young talked about they've laid off 50 people. That's just one instance. And so I know it's affected all of your budgets in one way or another. And I guess there's some folks that think that you're all flush with money. I don't know where you're hiding it, but apparently they haven't, most of them probably haven't set foot in a county commissioners meeting or a city meeting during budget or any other time. And I don't think a lot of them have been into the schools as well. And I call them on that all the time. So I'm not saying something I haven't said to their faces, but I just don't think it's going to fly. I don't think they have the votes to do anything like that. And really all it does, I call it the reverse Robin Hood. You're just going to let people that, the millionaires and billionaires in Jackson have less to pay when they can pay. And then you're going to turn around and you're going to ding the people that have, less money with sales tax. It's an unfair tax, and so I certainly wouldn't vote for it and hope it doesn't even get to our side, but I don't think they have the votes to do that. So that's just me. I'm always predicting with my crystal ball, but we'll see.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you for always coming and keeping us up to date. I kind of wish
Thanks.
we had some representatives
what
that
you all
showed
do.
up.
Appreciate it.
One more. So, some of the, I haven't poured through all of them yet. I'm just getting started because I've got this to deal with. But there seems to be a lot of encroachment on the state from the federal government. And what's the pushback on that? Because that is not, I'm reading online and it seems, and I'm surprised that there are people laying down to federal overreach. And such, what brought it, when I started going through it, and the rabbit hole is not fully tunneled out yet. So, but immigration even, last year, immigration, which is wreaking havoc on our nation right now, and even in our town. Wyoming didn't enforce or didn't pass the bill to allow employers of illegal immigrants to be held accountable. They pawned it off to the federal government. And so, for a fiscally conservative state, going after hundreds of thousands of people versus a couple of businesses who actually get fined and then give us an ROI back so we have a return on enforcement, seems to be a lot more logical. But that's nor here nor there. It is, why are we giving more rights to the federal government? We're a state. We are a sovereign state. So what are they doing? And what's the pushback and what's the plan?
Well, quite frankly, that's a lot to digest, but I would say this, that we have some folks in our legislature that don't want the federal government involved in any way, shape, or form. I'll give you a good example. Our Joint Appropriations Committee turned down $50-some million that was coming from the tribal health for our tribes to be able to get their health care on the reservation. That was federal money that was free. If we hadn't decided to keep it, the folks on the reservations, when they went in to get their health care, they would have been sending their bills to the state. So it was kind of a silly move to do that. They've changed their tune on that. I think they understand that better as to why we need to keep. It's the same with Department of Health. We get a lot of money from the federal on Medicaid, Medicare. There's a lot of things that we do. So we have to kind of still stay in touch with them. We have to be able to work with them and our federal partners. And like I said, I feel really good that we can always reach out to our senators and our representatives at the federal level and get some good information one way or the other. And they've always been willing to work with us. And then you've got some other people on the other side that maybe would acquiesce a little bit to the federal government. I think there's a lot of us, though, that are somewhere in the middle that say, we'll do what we can here at the state with what we have. Thank you very much. And if it's federal money that is coming, again, to help our folks with health issues, with Medicaid and so on and so forth, we're happy to take those. So it's kind of, you've got to have the balance there. You've got to kind of play a happy medium between these folks here and these folks here. So I don't know if that was a very good answer, but thanks. Appreciate it.
Look you up in Cheyenne. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Did you have a question?
No, thank you for answering my text. So you've been good.
Mr. Mayor, just so everybody, if you go to the Wyoming Association of Municipalities website, under the advocacy tab, those bills that she mentioned and others are on there. And the description of the bill, WAM's position, and the status of the bill is all on there, so you can follow that.
Excellent. Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. Craig Wilson. So on the subject of ADUs, I'd just like to say I lived in Salt Lake in the same neighborhood for over 40 years, and I saw an evolution of what looked like your regulations. The 40 some odd years ago, they weren't quite as specific, and even today, the real estate developers have been gaming the system. So in the neighborhood I just left a few years ago, it's kind of like every other house has an ADU in the backyard. They're tall, they're square, they're 2 feet, they're just a couple inches under the height of the front house. And they look down in the backyards. Nobody's got privacy in their backyards, and they're all rental units. They started out with this regulation you said about owner occupied, and somehow they gamed it, with a child, or they lived there for a while and then they turned it into a rental unit. So I just am hoping you look with a little more jaundiced and a little more skeptical eye as to the long-term implications of what you're doing with these ADUs. It's probably not as much of an issue here yet, but corporations, are buying up houses and they're turning them into rental units. And as you know, it's harder and harder for the young people to buy something because they just can't afford it. They're spending all their money renting. They're renting furniture, appliances, everything. And so just be a little bit more look at it from the rat side of the things.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah, that's it for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering, is there anything you can do about the Hillcrest? I mean, people are calling it an eyesore and a ghetto.
Sure.
And people come in town and that's the first thing they see.
Well, I guess I'll ask for some, I mean, I know they're in the process of demolishing it. I don't know exactly what, do we know a time frame? Do we
Haven't
know?
seen them do much.
They have been, and like I said, Mayor, maybe staff had met last July. We did that, and we had come up with a plan to address what the situation was then. And I think 3 days later, it caught on fire.
Yeah.
And so that's where our discussion, and from what I'm hearing, maybe, Chief, it's time to reinstitute that discussion. We rely a lot on fire safety, so we rely a lot on Mr. Overy for the dangerous and abandoned buildings. So maybe we need to revisit that issue.
Have a discussion. Chief, yeah, thank you.
Your Honor, actually myself, City Attorney, and Councilman Smith were discussing some instances just late last week, and Hillcrest did come up for discussion. The individual is not a large corporation, he's operating limited funds, he is making progress. Obviously, it's not as fast as we'd like to see it. We did discuss attacking again this summer, depending on where he's at. But he has established a location he can take the waste. And as far as I know, some equipment broke down that slowed the process. He did locate an individual, do a lot of work. And some that equipment broke down. I'm not sure what the status is on that right now. But we have to discuss that. We are monitoring it. But he is of limited funds. And the only alternative right now at this point, we've done this before, is the city's taking over these projects. And we end up putting a lien against the property. And the amount the taxpayers would take to tackle this project is a significant amount. And my concern would be it may stifle its ability to turn it into something else, that lien sitting over the property. But we have been talking about it.
Okay. It's definitely kind of a quagmire to a certain extent. Sometimes if we get involved, city gets involved, it just kind of stretches it out sometimes. But we're aware. Everybody in the community is aware. Yes, it is an eyesore. There's no question about that. Yeah. It does look to me like they've brought a little bit more of the building down. Doesn't seem like they've hauled much of it away, but they're slowly getting it down. So I hear you. We hear you. We'll have some discussions and.
Okay. And another thing, I don't know if anyone has been out on Tomahawk, where they're building a duplex on a corner lot. Mm-hmm. And I thought there were supposed to be height restrictions. I mean, this place is this much higher than any other house in the area. And I mean, it's on a corner. The parking is going to be terrible there.
Mr. Jacobson, can you help us there? I mean, I doubt anything there was built without a permit. It has to be approved by zoning and whatnot, right?
It does. Any new structure does require a building permit. We review it for setback requirements as well as building heights.
But I mean, the height of it alone is, I mean, it's taller than any other house there.
What's the location on that?
What's that? It's on Tomahawk. It's on the corner. I don't know the exact address, but it's right down from the park.
That was a request that went to the planning commission. There was a request for an encroachment into the rear yard setbacks. The house does comply with the streets, side yard, front yard setbacks. And it does comply with the maximum height limitation for it is less than 35 feet. 35 feet doesn't seem like a whole lot, but when you actually see it on the ground.
It's a tall building.
Yeah.
It's 3 stories.
This house doesn't come close.
And another thing, 2 years ago, a local businessman told me that Harmon's was coming in with a grocery store, and it was going to be on Wasatch. In Rock Springs 5 years ago, they told me a shoe store was coming over here, and they already had a place for it. Where are they? We have no businesses in this town. There's no place to shop. I know a lot of people do Amazon, but I don't.
Well,
And I don't enjoy going to Salt Lake and fighting all that traffic.
you know, for a business to come into town, we are as open to new business as we can possibly be. I think this council here is open and receptive to any business that wants to come here. The fact of the matter is that requires a particular business or corporation to decide to come here. We don't. The city doesn't build businesses. The city doesn't build buildings and open these businesses. We can partner in some of that on occasion, and we have partnered in that effort many times, and many of those have been successful. So to suggest that there are no places to shop, I think, is a little bit of an exaggeration.
Yeah.
But I will say that I mean, I have heard nothing of a Harmon's. Is that a grocery store? Is that the grocery store you're talking about, like down in the Wasatch front? If many times when corporations or businesses approach us and come to look at us, some of those things are kept a little confidential on their end of the deal, just to make sure that they can move forward the way they want to without property values increasing or pricing increasing or that kind of thing. And so it's possible that a corporation could be looking at us that they haven't said much yet. But I will tell you that I have heard nothing from any Harmon's. But I also will tell you that historically we've had several things said that of building businesses that have planned to come that we have turned away, which is absolutely inaccurate. The long-time myth has been, and it kind of applies maybe here, is that Cabela's was coming or was planning to come, and we turned them away. That is absolutely false. That never happened. I can show you, I could find it, I guess, or maybe somebody could find it. I've read it. There's a letter from Cabela's to, I want to say it was Mayor Davis, if I'm wrong, at the time, saying, we appreciate your willingness to talk, but unfortunately, you don't meet the demographic that we are looking for. And that is typically the case. And so quite honestly, we are just big enough to want some of those things, but just not quite big enough to get them. And so, you know, I mean, I guess what I would say is if you hear those kinds of things, give one of us a call. If I know something, I'll tell you. But I know nothing of the businesses that you're talking about.
Well, and I heard too that the Hampton wanted to put in an Olive Garden.
That'd be great. I'm all for it.
They got the space up there.
Yeah.
But quite honestly, that would require the Olive Garden folks being willing to come.
Olive Garden needs 40,000 people. Each of those businesses have their own demographics, and the majority like Chili's, Applebee's, those require about 30,000. I called when Lottie's came open. I called multiple businesses about bringing franchise into that building. And every one of them said exactly that. You need at least 30,000 people. And I said, we have 6 million cars. They don't care about that. They care about what the base is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? If there's nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Welling, is there a second?
I'll second.
Zeller seconding, all in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Might have to watch.